Hello, everyone. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you on this early Tuesday. We are going to see some changes once again that are going to return the snow making machine that is the lake effect snow engine as a low pressure system out over Hudson Bay will bring that northwest flow over the warmer and open bodies of the Great Lakes. And once again, just like we saw at the Buffalo Bills football game this past weekend, more significant snow is on the way. We'll get right to it with a look at the latest forecast model as we go through our Tuesday. This is when the transition begins. The colors that you see on the background, by the way, temperature. This pink and this purple blob that you see forming, moving out of parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, Arctic cold air. And as that cold northwest wind begins right here, now it's starting as a west wind, we'll have rain to begin this system as a warm front pushes through the region. But this warm front is going to cause, well, some of the air flowing over the Great Lakes like Superior to fetch some snow and drop it on the far eastern reaches of those large Great Lakes. But the main event will happen as very Arctic and cold air starts to blast its way in. Now that comes later in the day into Wednesday morning as we see. Now, as we zoom into the areas of the Great Lakes, what's going to happen, we'll have these northwest winds flowing across Superior, Michigan. And as those northwest winds become more and more northerly, they're going to fetch more and more moisture off those ocean surfaces. And the warmer waters actually enhance the lift that's going on so that by the time we get downwind, we get these narrow bands of very heavy snow. So the entire area from Quebec and down into parts of the New England states, Michigan, and particularly the northern peninsula or the UP of Michigan, going to see some enhanced snowfall potential as we go through our day on Tuesday and into Wednesday. This machine will get going again. And here we can really start to see the definition of this high resolution model picking up at, well, just downwind in parts of western Michigan, these bands of enhanced snow. Also, Marquette up there in the UP and Sault Ste. Marie, once again, in line for some big time snow amounts. As this system twirls its way into parts of, well, the northeastern United States, off the shores of Erie and off the shores of Ontario, we're going to see those lake effect snow machines setting up once again. Significant snowfall amount. And we're not done here. We're going to take a look at a model here now and show you some of the far out forecasts here as we go farther on into the week ahead as we get deeper into the month of December. Now, how much snow are we talking about? Let's take a look at this American model. I want to show you a couple of things. As we go through the late part of this work week and into the weekend ahead, we have a train of Alberta clippers that will be working their way out of Alberta and Saskatchewan and even parts of British Columbia. As these systems rock out over the northern plains, they're going to be shots of snow, but they will enhance and increase in strength as they get into the warmer waters and get farther away from the Rocky Mountains, which is their source region, and they intensify over the Great Lakes region. Here we go. Let's take a look at this now as we go through. Here is a look at the system one that will be working its way through with the south winds lacing the air with moisture, and then boom, all of a sudden, cold north winds start taking hold as we go into Wednesday. We just showed this one. Now let's see what's coming on the foothills of feet of this system working its way through. A little bit of a break, but not really for those lake effect snows thanks to these north winds that will be persistent into the day on Thursday. We'll continue to see that band of snow. Then another little weather wiggle wobbles out of the northern parts of Canada. And here we go with another round as we go into, see the date? Sunday and into Monday. So on the date, December 9th, here comes another wave. Now this is south wind ahead of the low pressure system, kind of dragging in Gulf of Mexico moisture over the lakes and picking up additional on the lakes and creating snow there on the northern side of the Great Lakes. And then it's your turn again for a chance at some lake effect snow. Now look at this system driving out of the south. Almost looks a little bit nor'easter-ish as it works its way through the Mississippi Delta out of the Gulf Coast states and up the Appalachians. That system promises to bring a chance of snow on the American model. And then here comes another clipper system right here with another chance of some snow and lake effect snow. Look at this, another one as we go into the middle of the month. Very stormy pattern. Now this is a look at the snowfall potential model guidance. It's all it is as we take a look at the American model, and then we will compare it to the other model of choice for far out forecasts, and that would be the European model. Now, we're only going to go out a little ways here, but if we take a look at the northeastern United States, you're in the bullseye as we go right through the weekend. And downwind from the Great Lakes here, where we see these enhanced bubbles of dark purple and peach colors, that's some ridiculously heavy snow through the weekend ahead. And then here come the next wave of systems, and here comes the one out of the southeast working its way through. So it does look very snowy. And let's go ahead and zoom in on the area of concern in the northeastern United States, in the New England states here, and take a peek at some of these snowfall totals with respects to this systems, I should say, that will be tracking their way through. So we have snowfall potential as we go through Thursday with wave 1 that's going to bring these enhanced bands of snow down in upstate New York and in. So we're talking Buffalo, we're talking Syracuse, and again, some of these snowfall amounts, 4 to 12 inches of snow with locally heavier amounts possible. Get down here into the Erie, Pennsylvania area, again, a foot of snow potential there. Now let's take a look at what happens as the next wave makes its way in. Boom, it just keeps going. The snow machine lasts into the weekend, and here it is as we go through the upcoming week. We could be talking about some locations with snowfall potential of another 2 to 3 feet of snow easily by the time we get into the early stages of next week. Okay, let's switch this over and look at the European model, shall we? Here we go. The European model, I think, does a better job at handling days 3 and beyond with regards to its consistency, but that's not always the case. Let's take a look at what it's showing for the New England states, and then we will shift gears and go over into the Michigan area and show you what we're expecting with these systems. So here's the first wave. Let me make sure I'm looking at the total snowfall with regards to this system. Here we go. So as we go through our Tuesday, Wednesday, and then into Thursday, here we go. By Thursday in the afternoon, look at this. Erie, snowfall amounts there ranging upwards of 1 foot to 2 feet of snow. There's 14 inches of snow in a few places, even more. At 21 inches I just saw there. Then as we get out of Pennsylvania into upstate New York, central New York here, we're seeing 7 inches. And we get up in that Buffalo, Syracuse area, we'll see some areas with 8 to 10 inches of snow there, potentially on the European model. Look as we get out here towards Michigan and the mitten of Michigan, that's a good 11 to 12 inch total out there. Now let's carry this on to the next wave that makes its way in a little bit later, and this one's showing just a lot of snow as we work our way into the early part of next week. Here it is, Erie, Pennsylvania. We're looking at some places picking up over 24 inches of snow. This one's peaking at about 31 inches of snow. Again, you cannot take this as what is exactly going to fall, but we can take it as some guidance where the heaviest bands will have the potential with this model guidance to produce snow over 2 feet. And again, this is over several days. And as we go farther out in time, the models have a more difficult time with the exact track of these storms. So we could see that, but we do know that certain places, Syracuse, Buffalo, and upstate New York, and Erie, PA, tend to see some enhanced snowfall potential downwind from these northwest wind creating systems. So the snow machine is on. Now let's shift gears and take a look for you folks in the central plain states. Let's look into the Michigan area and the Great Lakes of Wisconsin as well. Here we go with round 1 that begins as we go through Tuesday and into Wednesday, and look at the machine going western Michigan and the UP picking up already by the time we're talking about the day on Wednesday and into Thursday, some really serious snowfall totals. Okay, here's Thursday night. So by Thursday night, on the shores of the Big Lake, Michigan, and then off the shores of Lake Superior on the UP, we're going to see some places with over a foot of snow. So a foot of snow to 15, 18 inches seems to be the rule here. Get down a little bit farther south off the shores, southwestern Michigan, we're going to see a few places with 8 to 10 inches of snow potential on the European model here. So again, this potential, we'll see if it lines up pretty well with the other model here in a second. Let's take it out to the next wave. Now, the European model does have a few different tracks to these waves of clippers moving through, and I tend to agree with what it's showing, a progressive pattern with 3 Alberta clippers back to back to back as we go through Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday night into Monday of the next system through the northern plains, which means it could be a long several days as we go through the time period of next weekend. So here's Sunday, the 15th, as we go through time, and this model is showing that here in the UP of Michigan, we could have some places with well over 18 inches of snow. It's peaking out at over 20 inches of snow in places. And once we get to the south shores of the Lake Superior up here, we're seeing some areas with another 10 to 20 inches of snow. A lot of snowfall potential is going to be in these areas as we go through. Now, these systems, some of them coming with some wet, not just white. Let's look at the liquid equivalent moisture that these systems will be producing as we go through. Something called the total QPF, or quantitative precipitation forecast. So the colors you're seeing here, let me make sure I'm clicking on the right thing here. There we go. European model showing the QPF, and let's go here. There we go. I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so as we take this in time, the colors in green here, lighter amounts of liquid equivalent moisture. It will be falling as flakes for many of us. But on the warm side of these systems, before the cold north wind takes hold, it will be rain in some areas. So liquid equivalent moisture, as we go through the time period into early next week, some areas picking up an additional 1 to 2 to 3 inches of liquid equivalent moisture in parts of western Michigan, here in the western mitten of Michigan. See, I just put that mitten on, the UP, picking up a fair amount of an inch or more of liquid equivalent precipitation. Taking a look at that American model, seeing if it's jiving with what we see here as far as precipitation goes. Notice this. Let's go, that's out too far. This one goes out not quite as the American model goes out a little farther than the European does. So here we take a look at what it has in store, and it's a lot lower by Monday. Let's go out into the early part of the middle of next week. So significant differences once we get through the late part of our weekend ahead on what's happening next week with these storm systems cause a difference where this model, the American model, says 1 to 2 inches of liquid equivalent moisture for much of Michigan and parts of, well, let's see, upstate New York as well as Pennsylvania as well, with how much moisture. So again, this is the American model. This is looking out into parts of upstate New York. And here is a look up there just off the northern parts of Michigan. And we're seeing 2.5 to 3 inches of liquid equivalent moisture in some areas there. Same thing goes for central New York off of the lake effect event that could be taking place in upstate New York of 1 to 3 inches of liquid equivalent moisture in many of these areas. How about parts of Pennsylvania? A solid inch for the eastern half near Appalachia. As you get into the western reaches of the state and here near Erie, PA, we're talking about 1 to 2 inches of liquid equivalent moisture. So that's a look at that. Now, as far as temperatures go, when we take back a look again at the national picture, these storm systems that will be curling out of Canada will keep a north flow in parts, but there's some big changes expected temperature-wise as we go through. Taking a look at the U.S. national view here, and we'll look at the American model. And what we're going to notice with regards to this is the fact that there's some mighty cold air that's going to be working its way through the region. Here we go. This is an Arctic blob of air that is going to be making its way through the area as we go into, boom, there it comes in on Wednesday and Thursday. So we're talking about a very windy storm system as well. So wind chills in some of our northern plains communities could be down around 20 below zero or colder in spots on Thursday morning. That cold blob of air will work its way around Hudson's Bay and swing towards Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and that's going to bring some nasty wind chills with it as well as this system swings through the northeastern United States by Wednesday. Notice the cold air doesn't dive to the deep south, but if you are in parts of North Carolina, you'll be seeing some cooler than average temperatures there as we go through. Now, that cold blob of air winds its way around Hudson's Bay, and then here comes another one swinging around the chime. And as it works its way south and eastward, we'll have a chance for another cold outbreak. But in the meantime, look at the nice warm-up taking place in the southern one half of the United States on the American model. So a little bit of a reprieve from the cold that takes hold for you, according to the American model. So that is a look at what we have going on. Number one, these storm systems. And let me show you a look at the European model's track and timing of these storm systems as we go through, and then we'll close up shop here with this update for you. Significant snow over the upcoming 1 week of time in and around the Great Lakes region. Here we go. Now, this is the European model showing the storm system that makes its way through on Tuesday and into Wednesday. By the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, it gets to be a ridiculous snow event. Again, lake effect snow taking place for much of the northeastern and Great Lakes states. Then we'll get a little bit of a breather here, but there's another fast-hitting system. This one's Friday night and into Saturday morning. That one moves through and really is a quick-lived event. Then here comes another one as we go from Sunday and into Monday. So we'll get a warm event with south winds first, and then on the backside, here comes another potential system there. Now, the European model has the nor'easter-like system also on its radar, and it shows that it will make its impacts known by the middle of next week to the New England states. But there'll be some significant rain potential for most of the eastern half, or eastern third, I should say, of the United States as we go through next Tuesday, December the 10th and 11th, as that system makes its way through. We'll keep you posted right here on Hutch's Weather. If you like what you saw, I sure appreciate a like or even hitting the subscribe button right here. And again, you can check out the very latest on your weather with my interactive radar and my page at hutchesweather.com on any browsing device. Hit hutchesweather.com up and take a look at the photos that folks upload, as well as looking at your local forecast and the interactive radar. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday and keep it warm, everybody. It looks like more shovel trouble on the way to the Great Lakes region.